Good afternoon. I will officially call this meeting to order. My name is George Flowers. It is my honor and pleasure as chairman of your Historic Columbus Board to welcome you this afternoon to the 54th annual meeting. On behalf of the staff and the Board of Directors, I want to thank you for joining us virtually to celebrate the work that was done throughout 2019-2020. Although our meetings have been virtual, the actions have been real, actual, and true boots on the ground. John Shar was a scholar and political theorist. He taught at the University of California, Berkeley during the 1960s, another significant turbulent time in our country. He made the following observation: "The future is not some place we are going, but one we are creating. The paths are not to be found, but made. And the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination." During this unprecedented season, that is 2020, I am reminded of the Winston Churchill quote, "History will be kind to me, for I intend to write it," which of course he did. As you will hear in Executive Director Elizabeth Walden's report, Historic Columbus is also writing its own history by creating its own future from the fabric of our collective past. We are forever indebted to the service of our retiring board members, Shay Anderson, Joanne Hecht, Betsy Liebern, and Mark Olivier, who have faithfully served and supported this organization. Thank you. We are honored and excited to welcome our incoming directors and trustees and thank them for their willingness to serve. The new directors are Katie Bickerstaff, Florine Dawkins, Mint Flowers, and Harrison Wallace. We are also adding 8 new trustees. They will be joining a larger class of returning trustees with a term expiring in 2023. Shay Anderson, Ruth Calhoun, Fred Green, Joanne Hecht, Jim Hillenbrand, Lily James, Betsy Liebern, and Pam Thayer. We thank you, the loyal and dedicated volunteers, trustees, directors, preservationists, contributors, sponsors, and patrons for sustaining this organization by breathing life into the cultural and historical consciousness of our beloved community. Without you, our Historic Columbus Foundation would not be able to be part of this valley's orienting compass for her people. Next up in our virtual setting is Cal Evans, who has faithfully served as the treasurer for Historic Columbus Foundation. Thank you, Cal.
From a financial perspective, there was a lot of work to be done in the 2020 fiscal year. We entered last fall with a proposed balanced budget for 2020, the first in several years, which would require aggressive fundraising and a keen eye towards expense control. At the same time, a focus on bringing our accounting methods in line with general standards and newly implemented rules regarding philanthropies posed additional challenges. These were the issues of which we knew. Needless to say, we had not planned on a global pandemic and its resulting impact on markets and the operations of the foundation. Fortunately, a great group effort from Debbie, JP's, and your Finance Committee addressed the budget and accounting challenges, and spectacular fundraising numbers from Elizabeth and the staff took care of the fundraising goals and helped to offset the impact from COVID-19. I am happy to report that fiscal year 2020 will end with a surplus, the first time we have seen one since 2014. As of September 28th, the numbers are as follows. Net income, $580,419. Net expenses, $543,302, resulting in a net income of $37,117, with a planned transfer of restricted funds added of $19,151, gave us a surplus of $56,268. Highlights include meeting a very high bar on membership dues of $160,000, beating the 2020 goal in general donations by 240%, and besting the 2020 goal for the annual fund by 140%. The 2021 fiscal year will have its own unique set of challenges related to the impact of COVID-19 and the resulting inability to put on the larger annual fundraising events that drive a great portion of our operations spend. Due to this factor, we have crafted a 2021 budget that takes into account the last time HCF faced a recession, 2008 to 2009, where giving in the aggregate dropped by approximately 10%. This factor has been applied to the combined 2020 budgeted total for membership dues, general donations, and the annual fund, which, as we see it, is a very conservative estimate to make. We have also put a much sharper pencil to projected revenues from events that we can host. Although income will not be as high as it has recently been, neither will expenses, so there is some offset to the impact. We also have hedges in place in the form of grants secured in 2020, the proceeds of which have been transferred in whole to restricted funds for future use. These include $83,000 from the P3 loan program and $10,000 from a state humanities grant. The debt from the P3 loan program will be converted to a grant in the fourth quarter of this year. In addition, the surplus from 2020 will roll into the 2021 fiscal year budget. In total, this results in $150,000 of other income to offset the expense side of the ledger. Because of these factors, we are again proposing a balanced budget for fiscal year 2021, and we have great confidence that we could achieve it. Of course, the surest path to that goal is continued enthusiastic engagement from our membership, board, and our trustees, and we are counting on all of you to help us get there. We certainly appreciate the extremely generous support given in 2020. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce our Executive Director, Elizabeth Walden, who's going to cover the year in review.
Thank you, Cal. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We have almost come to the end of our 54th year as an organization. To echo George's thanks, we are very grateful to our trustees, directors, and members. Without your leadership and support, this year would not have been possible. I am also incredibly thankful to our 4 directors who are rotating off the board this year for all they have done: Shay Anderson, Joanne Hecht, Betsy Lieburn, and Mark Olivier. Their time and their support have been invaluable. It has definitely been a mixed bag of a year. It has been scary and tough at times, while also being one of our most active in terms of great preservation projects, exciting advocacy efforts, and new education programming. We've had to get more creative, just like everyone else, and it has made us stronger for it. At the beginning of COVID-19 and during quarantine, we needed to keep a plan for Historic Columbus to not be only on your radar, but sustainable for the foreseeable future. From that point forward, we created strategies for communication, education, events, and preservation. The first priority from my perspective was communication. We put together weekly emails to keep you all updated through new preservation and history spotlights. We also developed a monthly email to our directors, trustees, and longtime friends to give them more insight into how HCF is dealing with the pandemic financially and giving them the inside scoop on projects. Our education programming was next. We knew that how Historic Columbus typically provided children's education programs was going to have to change. We couldn't present the Patricia Jackson Howard Scholarship in person this year, but we made sure Sherry AUSCHENBACH, who is now attending Berry College, received the $2,500 scholarship in Patty's name. There would also be no tours of the Walker Peters Langdon House. There would be no in-school activities like making butter or bricks, and there would be no Box City summer camp. We needed to adapt, and we did. Over this past summer, we held a virtual best building contest and provided log cabin kits to 60 children at Truth Spring Academy in the Mill District, thanks to new board member and longtime trustee Florine Dawkins. This current school year, we are focusing on providing the Our Town materials, history videos, and in-classroom activities to the schools through our website. We will also develop a new outdoor exhibit at the Walker Peters Langdon so children and their families can still visit and learn about our town's history in a safe way. And we will continue to work with our cultural arts partners on new collaborative efforts, like our virtual women's suffrage marker dedication that was held in August with the Columbus Museum. On the preservation side of things, the facade loan and rehabilitation loan programs continue to be very active, helping homeowners repair and renovate their historic homes. We currently have 28 active facade loans totaling almost $300,000 and one rehab loan for $80,000 invested in our historic neighborhoods from the original city to North Highlands to Midtown. I've also been speaking with each member of the board over the past several months to get their opinions on our investment and advocacy priorities for the next few years. We talked one-on-one about what is important to them and what do they see as relevant and needed for our community. The 5 areas they delved into include the 2nd Avenue corridor, the Mill District, High Uptown, Waverly Terrace, Midtown, and Heritage Park. Developing strategies for each of these areas to encompass both specific structures for investment and what's more appropriate for advocacy support will be our focus over the next several months. One of these areas is already seeing a lot of attention. If you've driven anywhere near the Rankin House lately, you have likely noticed a flurry of new construction in High Uptown. Adding up the estimated cost of these new projects under development in and around High Uptown, the total reaches nearly $90 million. These projects include the Chase Homes redevelopment by the Columbus Housing Authority, a 70-unit new apartment complex by Ken Henson, Mercer Medical School of Medicine, the Highside Market on 13th and 3rd Avenue, the Sputnik Bar, and City Mills, among others. These are exciting investments not only for High Uptown, but also for the greater community. In recognition of all those investments, Historic Columbus sees the need to stay ahead of construction and develop a plan for High Uptown. That plan will identify, protect, and highlight the historic properties that may be in the wake of all this new work, as well as noting areas ripe for additional infill development or renovation. In September, Historic Columbus's Preservation and Executive Committees approved hiring Heck Burdishaw Architects to assist in a planning effort to accomplish just that. The plan will be completed soon and will guide and focus discussion on how Historic Columbus can positively embrace these new investments while protecting some of the most significant historic properties in our community. More than a year ago, Historic Columbus purchased 3 houses on 3rd Avenue to save and stabilize the structures. We were also successful in securing a $75,000 grant from the 1772 Foundation to assist with their rehab work. These houses were sold with facade easements to Ken Henson as a part of his larger apartment development efforts, which has now allowed for the 1772 Foundation grant funds to be returned back to the revolving fund to go back to work. We didn't want to let the dust settle, so we turned those funds around quickly and purchased a long-time vacant and abandoned property, 1415 3rd Avenue, the Walter Hurt Cargill House, to stabilize and sell to new buyers. We closed on September 15th, and this property has already garnered interest from potential buyers as a single-family residence. This is exciting progress for this wonderful area to once again become a vibrant neighborhood. We also received in mid-September a donation of a house on Bradley Circle. It was completely restored and has a river view. We are in the process right now of selling the property. This wonderful donation will enable our revolving fund to grow so that Historic Columbus can invest in more properties within our focus areas. You've heard us talk about Bradley Circle over the past few years, and this will be the second property that Historic Columbus will revolve in City Village and the larger Mill District. At last year's annual meeting, we announced the second public participation grant recipient, Zion Church in Talbotton. What a year they have had. In part to the $100,000 grant Historic Columbus was able to provide thanks to the donors of the 50th anniversary capital campaign. As you can see from these photos, the work is going strong and the restoration of one of America's most significant wooden Gothic Revival buildings is almost complete. When we see the light at the end of the coronavirus, we will be planning a tour and you won't want to miss it. We've also been very thankful to partner again with Help Save Hilton. This time, we joined together to assist Midtown Inc. by providing the funds for a 9-month option for Midtown to purchase the Hilton property. This will become the centerpiece of Midtown's first ever capital campaign, and we are excited to support them in this incredible effort to secure this property. Our work will continue for those historic neighborhoods surrounding Hilton through promoting our low-interest facade loan and rehab loans to the existing homeowners to make needed repairs for their houses and ultimately make transformation happen one house at a time. As we all know, older homes aren't what everyone is looking for, but there is a sizable share of home buyers out there that are. Older blocks offer more affordable housing options than newer areas while creating employment and other opportunities for residents of all incomes. At a time when cities are struggling with the high cost of adding new affordable housing, making better use of the tremendous adaptive potential of underused existing buildings is a proven way forward. This is why neighborhoods like East Winton, East Highlands, Waverly Terrace, and those in the Mill District are vital to Columbus's overall success. Of course, new construction is always needed to keep pace with growing numbers and needs of residents, but new development doesn't have to dwarf established neighborhoods or demolish existing fabric to accommodate growth. Almost anywhere you look, there are opportunities for sensitive and compatible infill that can enrich our city's character rather than diminish it. And it's about the character of our city that we celebrate tonight as we honor the incredible private investment by our 2020 Preservation Award recipients. Before I go, I want to take one more minute to thank the Historic Columbus staff. I am so fortunate to be able to work beside them. Walker Watkins, Debbie Lipscomb, Justin KRIEG, Palmer Trawick, and Callie Hecht. Unfortunately, Callie made the decision at the end of August to resign her position. We are devastated, but excited she now has the opportunity to spend more time with her family, which is the most important thing to us all. We are so grateful to her. In her 11 years, she expanded Box City, created our social media presence, grew our children's programming, and managed all of our events. It will take a team to even touch replacing her. Thank you all for everything you do for Historic Columbus and to make our community a better place. We are grateful. It is now my great pleasure to bring on Preservation Committee Chairman and President-elect John Sheftall to present this year's 2020 Preservation Awards.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I am pleased tonight to present 10 Historic Columbus Preservation Awards for outstanding projects involving structures that are historic or in historic districts. First up is the award to Ben and Allie Link for their award-winning new construction in the historic Bibb Village District, 3244 River Avenue. Seeing an opportunity for a new infill home in a historic district along the Chattahoochee River was an easy decision for this young couple. Ben and Allie took advantage of the topography, building a home that has amazing views of the river and the historic Bibb Village neighborhood. Thanks to Ben and Allie for making a lasting investment in this important community. The next award goes to Shay Austin for his restoration of 837 3rd Avenue. Shay has consistently been involved in the preservation scene in Columbus, helping to renovate a number of properties from small mill houses to historic apartment developments. Shay has a great eye for detail and spares no expense to make a property correct. Historic Columbus is thankful for people like Shay who have a strong vision for improving our historic properties. We're excited to see what he does next. The next award goes to Don Johnson for his renovation of 1907 18th Avenue. Located in the heart of the Maricopa-St. Elmo Historic District along Lake Bottom Park, this home has been transformed by Don. It is now an eye-catcher driving by and a welcome improvement along 18th Avenue. One of the largest historic districts in Columbus, Maricopa St. Elmo continues to thrive because of people like Don and the investments they make. Thanks to Don and his efforts to improve this property that is so visible to those who frequent Lake Bottom. The next award goes to Fernando and Mallory Vergara for their restoration of 1408 Wildwood Avenue. The Vergara's home is unique with its cedar shake siding and is a great example of the variety of homes located within the Wildwood Circle Hillcrest Historic District. Fernando and Mallory have been excellent stewards of this property, and their recent renovation will help strengthen the surrounding neighborhood for many years to come. Thank you, Mallory and Fernando, for seeing the value in historic properties and preservation in Columbus. The next award goes to NEIGHBORWORKS Columbus for a group of renovated structures: 304 35th Street, 425 Walnut, and 526 Walnut. Focused on providing fit and affordable housing in Columbus, NEIGHBORWORKS has found itself concentrating many of its housing efforts lately in the North Highland and Anderson Village neighborhoods. Nearing completion on a new multifamily development next to Fox Elementary, NEIGHBORWORKS has also been remodeling and renovating a number of older homes in the surrounding neighborhoods. These three structures, 304 35th Street, 425 Walnut, and 526 Walnut, are just some of their recently completed examples. Historic Columbus is grateful to be a financial partner with NEIGHBORWORKS, helping make strategic investments within the Mill District, providing stable and affordable housing in Columbus. The next award goes to Ken HENSON Jr. for his adaptive reuse of a commercial structure at 1147 6th Avenue. Now one of the best-looking streets in uptown Columbus, 6th Avenue has another jewel in its crown with the renovation of the former Coca-Cola bottling plant. Ken HENSON purchased and renovated this historic building to take full advantage of all the character the building had to offer. Ken even hired UGA art students to help recreate a historic Coca-Cola mural on the front facade of the building based from historic photographs. Ken did a great job with this project and has already moved on to improving other properties nearby. The next award goes to Alexa Meadows for her renovation of 16 5th Street. This home marks the second of 3 houses purchased by Ms. Meadows that have been renovated and sold as single-family homes. This particular property, finished with a variety of historic details, is once again a gift to the street and provides for some visual interest with its colorful paint scheme. Historic Columbus thanks Ms. Meadows and her ongoing investment on 5th Street. We are excited for her next project, number 3. The next award goes to Brian Turner for his renovation of 3 houses located at 1328 Elmwood Drive, 840 Cooper Avenue, and 900 Overlook Drive. Working for many years updating and improving historic homes, Brian Turner has made a significant mark in Columbus, taking on projects that may have been too daunting for others. His eye for improving spaces to meet the desires of today's homeowner, coupled with a nod to historic architecture and detail, has proven to be an ongoing adventure for Brian. He has renovated numerous homes in Columbus, but Historic Columbus is excited to recognize tonight his work in the historic Overlook neighborhood. 1328 Elmwood, 840 Cooper, and 900 Overlook, all 3 represent the positive investment Brian is helping make in our community and historic districts. Historic Columbus is thankful for those like Brian who are willing to do the hard work of preservation and show the value of historic homes. The next award goes to Katie and Justin KRIEG for their adaptive reuse of another historic commercial structure at 38th and 2nd Avenue. Having just completed a renovation of the historic Skinner's Furniture Building and the Bibb City Studios building across the street. Justin and Katie are helping people think differently about a long, disinvested gateway into Columbus. Apartments, offices, studio spaces, a gift store, the Food Mill Cafe, and a small market to come soon. Bibb City and North Highlands are beginning to experience some of the vibrancy that was common when the mills were running at full capacity. Historic Columbus thanks Justin and Katie for their ongoing investments in the Mill District and high hopes for more to come. The final award I have the privilege of announcing tonight goes to John Crenshaw for his renovation of 804 Cooper Avenue. Located in the historic Overlook neighborhood, 804 Cooper was in dire need of renovation both inside and out. John has done an amazing job renovating this property to exhibit some of the original features it had when new, along with some new updates and additions. John has a great eye for style and has done a wonderful job marrying modern amenities with historic character. Thank you, John, for your ongoing commitment to historic preservation and continuing to make investments in our historic districts. Congratulations again to all 10 of these award winners. But there's one more. The Sarah Turner Butler Award, Historic Columbus's highest award, will now be presented by our president, Bob Kidd. It's my great privilege to introduce him, to present that award, and to wrap up tonight's program.
Thank you, John. The Sarah Turner Butler Award is the Historic Columbus Foundation's highest honor, awarded annually since 1984 to an individual or organization for outstanding contributions to historic preservation in our city and region through demonstrated leadership and commitment to the mission of Historic Columbus. This year's recipient joins the distinguished company of previous Sarah Turner Butler Award recipients. Over Historic Columbus's 54 years of existence, there have been numerous organizational relationships that have aided in furthering our mission to revitalize, educate, advocate, and preserve. One group in particular has consistently gone above and beyond to assist Historic Columbus whenever asked. In many cases, acting as the redevelopment and real estate investment arm of the city early on, the Housing Authority of Columbus, Georgia has been a key player in helping to assemble property, provide appropriate affordable housing, and sensitive rehabilitations since their beginning. When other federally funded housing groups across the country were taking urban renewal to new extremes and devastating historic neighborhoods in the name of progress, our Housing Authority worked diligently to ensure the original city was left intact. Historic Columbus has also enjoyed a close relationship with the Housing Authority and has always had board representation on both sides. One of the most notable relationships was that with Brown Nicholson, who retired from leading the Housing Authority in 1993. Brown was involved in Historic Columbus Foundation since its inception in 1966, serving in a number of leadership roles and helping to develop a variety of innovative preservation programs. Brown was a longtime supporter and champion of Historic Columbus Revolving Fund, and he developed the widely successful Facade Loan Program, which has loaned well over $1 million since its beginning in 1997. Brown also helped to facilitate Columbus's very first National Register Historic District. After Brown's long tenure at the Housing Authority, Stan King, who served with Brown for 12 years, was also a friend to historic preservation, continued the legacy of revitalization priorities set at the authorities. Then came Lynn Williams, serving nearly 2 decades as CEO, continued the strong involvement and relationship with Historic Columbus, consistently seeking input and offering extraordinary wisdom to this organization in times of need. Lynn's leadership at Historic Columbus and the Housing Authority has strengthened both our community and residents alike. Best stated by Columbus Mayor Skip Henderson, he's been able to change the way people look at public housing and the way residents feel about their neighborhoods. And the culture of strong leadership at the Housing Authority did not end with Lynn's retirement. Lisa Walters, who served as the CFO of the Housing Authority with Lynn, has assumed the CEO position and hit the ground running with her involvement on the HCF board and providing leadership to the Mill District project located along 2nd Avenue in Columbus. Historic Columbus is greatly appreciative of the long-standing contributions and positive working relationships built with our Housing Authority, and is therefore humbled to present this year's Sarah Turner Butler Award to the Housing Authority for its enduring contributions not only to historic preservation and historic Columbus, but our community as a whole. And now accepting the award, Lisa Walters and Lynn Williams.
Thank you, Bob. It is an honor to receive the Sarah Turner Butler Award this year for the Housing Authority of Columbus, Georgia. My name is Lisa Walters, and I'm the current CEO of the Housing Authority. It has been a pleasure to work with Lynn Williams over the last 19, 20 years. And I think most of this opportunity to serve the community has been due to his leadership. He never gave us the words, "Yeah, I have work for you to do," or "I have a job for you." It was always, "I have an opportunity for you." And that's exactly what we did. We set out to make the community better, and it was under his leadership that we did that. So I'll let you comment.
Well, thank you, Lisa. That was very kind of you. I want to point out it wasn't just under my tenure. The Housing Authority has a very long relationship with Historic Columbus. Many of you know that Brown Nicholson was very active. He was a board member for many years. And the Housing Authority did a lot of work, bought some property for Historic Columbus. So it's a very long relationship. I've had the pleasure of the last 19 years or so working here. And as you know, we have done a lot of replacement of obsolete public housing. And when we've done that, we've tried to be a good part of the community, a good part of the neighborhoods. We've tried to design property that fit with the community and fit into that particular neighborhood. And nowhere has that been more important, I think, than our last project, which was Columbus Commons. And we actually went into the historic district and took out architectural styles from the buildings and the houses in that area and modeled Columbus Commons on that. I think you'll see something similar when we move up to Chase Homes, the Mill District area. We're going to have that as a mill, almost an industrial look to some of the buildings, and I think you're going to find that'll fit in very well. But the point being, we've tried our best to serve the community, to fit in with the community, to make housing that the community would be proud of, and I think to be recognized by Historic Columbus validates what we've done, and we are so grateful for this honor.
Yes, and it has been great, rewarding experience.
Yes, it has.
Congratulations to the Housing Authority. Needless to say, this year has probably been the most unusual and trying year in the history of Historic Columbus. But as you've already heard from Elizabeth, this year has been a very active and productive year despite the challenges. There are so many people to thank for the successes that we have achieved during 2020. You've just been treated to the preservation work that has been ongoing and which we have honored with our preservation awards. This vital part of what we are about has not been diminished by the pandemic, and we so appreciate those who continue to revitalize our community. A special thank you to our members, trustees, and directors who have stepped up to keep Historic Columbus strong and, to borrow Elizabeth's words, to make our community a better place. It seems to me that everyone has recognized that, more than ever, your commitment and support have been needed in every way, from financial support and virtual presence at meetings to engaging in social media and other communication opportunities. You've been there with us, and I thank you for it. I also want to personally thank the committees who work so hard to fulfill our mission, from preservation and education to finance and membership to nominating and event planning. The real work of our organization originates with you. Like every other aspect of HCF during this pandemic, the work continues and efforts, if anything, have redoubled. Lastly, but certainly not least, I extend my deepest appreciation to our amazing staff. I could not be more proud, nor could I ever put into words just how much each of them means to me. Elizabeth already recognized them in her remarks, but it can't be said enough. Elizabeth has exhibited tremendous leadership through the trials and travails of COVID-19 and has helped keep morale high. To Justin, Palmer, Debbie, Callie, and Walker, I say thank you for your efforts and for the overall support and teamwork you have exhibited. This group has ensured that we have stayed connected and informed, that we've not only survived, but we have thrived during 2020. Thanks to staff, we have new tools for reaching out and staying connected, and in many ways we are stronger than ever as a result of the difficulties we have faced. This brings to mind a quote from Nelson Mandela, who said, "Disasters will always come and go, leaving their victims either completely broken or steeled and seasoned and better able to face the next crop of challenges that may occur." We have indeed been steeled and seasoned, and in our time of need, you have responded, and for that, we can all be grateful. Thank you, and good evening.